Welcome, my curious companions of the cosmos. Today we're diving into one of Christianity's most enduring apologetic arguments, the claim that Jesus' resurrection proves the truth of Christianity. Grab your archaeological brushes and your skeptical spectacles, because we're about to excavate this theological fossil and see if it holds up to scrutiny. You know, before there were YouTubers faking their death for views, there was this whole resurrection narrative getting billions of followers. That means Jesus found clickbait before the Paul brothers. But seriously, this argument has convinced millions throughout history, and continues to be one of the strongest pillars for supporting Christian belief. So let's not dismiss it lightly. Instead, let's give it the full analytical treatment it deserves. For those unfamiliar, the argument from the resurrection goes something like this. Jesus of Nazareth died by crucifixion. After his death, the tomb was found empty. Multiple people claim to have seen Jesus alive after his death. These witnesses were willing to die for this belief. The early Christian church exploded in growth despite persecution. Therefore, the best explanation for these facts is that Jesus literally rose from the dead. And if he rose from the dead, then Christianity must be true. Simple, right? Just accept these premises and boom, Christianity proven. Who needs science when you got a 2,000-year-old zombie story? But wait, is it really that straightforward? The modern version of this argument often comes with fancy philosophical trappings and probability calculations. Apologists like William Lane Craig argue that when you analyse competing hypotheses, the resurrection emerges as the inference to the best explanation. You see, if we assign prior probability of X to divine intervention, and then factor in the likelihood of empty tombs occurring naturally as Y, we can calculate... Wait, how do we calculate the probability of a miracle? Oh right, we just assert it's more probable than the alternatives. Before we dive into the debunking, let's clear up some common misconceptions. Misconception 1. Most historians agree that Jesus was resurrected. Reality check. Historians may generally agree that Jesus existed and was crucified, but a resurrection is a supernatural claim that falls outside of historical methodology. All non-Christian historians consider it a theological belief, not a historical fact. The confusion stems from apologists cherry-picking statements from scholars who acknowledge that something happened that the disciples interpret as resurrection appearances. That's a far cry from affirming a supernatural resurrection. Misconception 2. The disciples wouldn't die for a lie. People die for false beliefs all the time. Heaven's Gate cultists, 9/11 hijackers, and countless others throughout history have died for beliefs that contradict each other. Sincerity doesn't equal accuracy. Plus, the historical evidence for most disciples' martyrdom is actually quite thin. Despite popular belief, only a few apostles' accounts are actually reliable. The rest come from later traditions of the church and legends that developed centuries after the fact. So your evidence that these people died for their belief is later stories claiming that they died for their belief. Case closed, I guess. Misconception 3. The empty tomb is an established historical fact. The empty tomb stories appear in the Gospels, which were written decades after the events by non-eyewitnesses with theological agendas. That's not exactly what historians call rock-solid evidence. Misconception 4. The resurrection account shows reliable eyewitness testimony. When we compare the Gospel accounts side by side, we find numerous contradictions. Who discovered the tomb? One woman? Several women? Which woman? Was the stone actually moved or not? How many angels/men were present? 1, 2, none? Where did Jesus first appear? Galilee? Jerusalem? Did the disciples recognise Jesus immediately or not? Your Honour, our eyewitnesses can't agree on who was there, what they saw, or when they saw it, but other than that, it's totally reliable. Number 1. Unreliable sources. The resurrection accounts come from the Gospels and Pauline letters, religious texts written by believers to promote their faith. They weren't objective historical documents, but theological assertions. In other breaking news, Spider-Man comics provide definitive proof that radioactive spiders give people superpowers. Our source? Spider-Man comics. Now here's a very serious problem that needs to be stated. Let's look at the timeline. Jesus' death, 30 to 33 CE. Paul's letters, 50 CE, contains early creed but no empty tomb. Mark, 65 to 70 CE, simplest resurrection account. Matthew and Luke, 80 to 90 CE, expanded accounts. John, 90 to 100 CE, most elaborate account. See the patterns. The stories grow more detailed and miraculous over time, the classic legendary development. The original ending of Mark, widely considered the earliest gospel, doesn't even include resurrection appearances. It ends with women fleeing the tomb in fear. The longer ending with appearances was added later by a different author. Number 2. Alternative explanations abound. The resurrection proponents present a false dichotomy: either Jesus rose from the dead, or the disciples were lying, but there are numerous other possibilities. Interestingly, Christians don't apply the same faulty reasoning when it comes to Islam. When considering the early followers of Muhammad, who attested to his miracles or the rapid spread of Islam, they don't say either Muhammad's companions witnessed actual miracles, or they were deliberately lying. They may have sincerely believed in what they thought they witnessed. They could have been caught up in mass psychology and collective enthusiasm. Their deep devotion might have led to them interpret ordinary events as miraculous. They might have accepted second-hand accounts out of trust in their community. Cultural context and existing religious ideas likely shaped their understanding. Their testimonies could have evolved and been embellished over time. Number 3. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. A resurrection isn't just unusual, it defies everything we know about biology, physics, and how reality works. For such an extraordinary claim, we need extraordinarily strong evidence, not just ancient testimonials. Right, I'm gonna give you my best Carl Sagan impression. If I told you I had a pet dragon in my garage, you'd want more proof than my sincere testimony and some movement in the hay, right? That was awful, I'm sorry. The historical evidence for the resurrection is actually quite thin. No contemporary accounts, no neutral witnesses, no physical evidence, just religious texts written decades later. Your Honour, I'd like to submit some evidence from this book I wrote about myself performing miracles. What? You want additional evidence? How dare you question my narrative? Let's put this in plain terms. Experts who study the past don't accept magic or godly causes for old events, no matter how well they were written down. For example, we don't think Emperor Vaspian really did healing magic, even though writers who weren't his fans wrote it down while people were still alive to check. So why should Jesus' case be treated any differently? Ancient miracle claims, totally unreliable, except this one, which happens to align with my particular religion. When we apply consistent historical standards and critical thinking, the resurrection argument simply doesn't deliver what it promises. Historical investigation cannot confirm supernatural events, especially when based on religiously motivated accounts written decades after the alleged events. That said, people are free to believe in the resurrection as a matter of faith. Just don't claim it's proven by historical evidence. Until next time, stay curious, stay critical, and never stop questioning. Goodbye.